We're going to do a quick little tour. One of the things about raising a frame is making sure you got everything set in a logical area before you approach it. So right here on the trailer, we got four big beams, which are our plates. And as you can see down at the end here, these are where we've started our scarf joints. And a scarf joint is a methodology that allows you to join together plates and ridges and kind of extend that out. So if your timber's 20 foot, you can actually make it 40 foot, 60 foot, 11 miles long using scarf joints. If you check out the internet and you type in scarf and types, there's a gazillion different types of scarf joints. So it's always good to just kind of take a look and see what's out there. Um, Here's our knee brace station. We're going to go ahead and cut some knee braces. So we've got a couple of knee braces over here that are already cut. This is a community project. So we held some knee brace stock back. So members in the community that want to participate are able to do it. These knee braces are sitting on a pony system, which is a skid system. And it's really nice because you can move them around. You can change the height. You can use them for storing timbers. You can use them as a work area. You can modify the size of the crossbeam to change the height. If you're interested in those ponies, starhilltimberworks.com/start. Download our manual, and the plans for the ponies are in that manual. Three of our four tie beams are sitting right here. These are 8 by 10. So the posts are 8 by 8. Tie beams are 8 by 10 because they have a little bit more outward thrust on them. They span a little bit more. So we want to make sure that they're a little beefier. In this build, the plates are 8 by 8. You could make them 8 by 10. However, we're going to put these up manually, and they're just a little easier to handle at the 8 by 8 size. And they're also a little less expensive. That jaw horse from Rockler is one of my favorite tools. That thing has a clamp on it. It's sturdy enough to hold your timbers. You can clamp it. You can reverse the slide on it. It'll hold a 4 by 8 sheet of plywood. Definitely worth getting your hands on a number of those if you're able to. Yeah, we're out here prepping for our Snow Hill build. Over the weekend, we're going to raise a 16 by 30 pergola at Snow Hill. Hang with us. We found this project interesting because it's actually adjacent to a graveyard. First project I've ever done that, was right next to a graveyard. And first one is 1865 to 1929. I'm going to speak with the owner and find out if we can figure out what is the oldest grave in this concrete pad that was installed for this specific timber frame. This part right here by the door is pretty standardized as far as concrete goes. And as you get out into the area where the frame's going to be, the frame's going to start right here. And it's going to go 30 foot that direction. So it'll be 16 foot by 30 foot. What we did before we poured the concrete is underneath these footings, there is a 20 by 20 sonotube that goes down below the frost line, and then the pad was poured on top of that. You have to have the support because there's pretty heavy duty point loads associated with timber framing, and we want to make sure that the pad's not going to crack. These are Osco brackets, and I like them because they're real easy to install. You simply install a red head, and what a red head is simply a concrete anchor. So it looks like that right from Menards. You drill a hole with a Hilti or some type of hammer drill, and then you pound that red head in, and then you bolt it up. On the bottom of the timber where that bolt comes up, we'll just take a little 2-inch flat bit and put a little indent in the bottom so things don't interfere. One of the important things about any bracket that you use If you look at this one, you can see it's about an inch thick or inch off the concrete. And that makes sure that your post is not going to be in contact with the concrete and allows you to um, protect the bottom of the post. The reason I like Osco brackets is they simply slide on the side. So you can slide them on the side and then we'll screw them together utilizing the screws that come with the bracket set. It allows you to set your frame right onto that base plate, make any adjustments while it's there, and then you can, you know, truck strap it in or crank it or do whatever you need to do with your frame so that it will be in the right spot. And then you go back afterwards and put brackets on all four sides, which is really pretty nice. This here's a package of the Osco plates that we're using. So that's the brand. You can, Simpson makes a brand. There's a bunch of different, you can make knife plates, a lot of ways of doing it. I really am a fan of the Oscos because I like those removable plates. Yesterday we laid out all of these plates. Over here we haven't set the anchor. And the reason behind that is that plate bumps against where that wiring comes up. So we're going to have to grind down one of the edges of the plate so it doesn't interfere with the conduit as we're doing our work. It's really important when you're framing that you think about what are you going to use when and how are you going to set things up. So right along the back wall, you see those blocks that are sitting there. Tomorrow, we'll put the two parts of the plate and test the scarf joint and make sure that's all appropriate. Then we're going to come over here, and the posts that are on the outside belong over here, so we don't have to mess around with the posts. And we're going to test these posts into the plate. Once that's complete, the plate gets set aside, and we start testing the posts to our tie beams and get ready to raise the bents. If you stay with us in the subsequent episodes, you're going to see all of that. We're going to show you exactly how to do, how to raise a frame. Looking at the end of these timbers, on both ends, they're clearly marked as far as what timber we're dealing with, because when you get a big stack of timbers, you don't want to pull it, you want to be able to pull it out of the pile and make sure that you have the right one. Over here, you can see our rafter stock is covered up, but it's stacked and stickered so you can get about an inch worth of air all the way around it. And then we just put a cover over the top. If you allow that cover to go to the bottom, and put some rocks or something like that to hold it in place, you're going to trap the humidity and you're going to create kind of a moldy mess. These rafters are 4x8 by, I think they're like 24 feet. And we're going to need 4x8 by 20s. Here's a skid set up, and that's just simply an area where we're going to work on the rafters because we got to cut them, sand them, and stain them. Here's another skid set up, and this is just to contain and hold our posts. Over here, we've got a tie beam, and it's sitting just on a couple of blocks. The one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to put our timbers just sitting on the ground. One other thing to consider when you're storing your timbers, if you look at this storage rack, you will see that we've thought about it, and here's a through mortise that goes all the way through, and that one's up, so there's nothing, rainwater is not going to collect in any of these mortises. If you leave your timbers out in the weather, and you've got a mortise pocket up and that rainwater collects in there, it gets pretty black and pretty nasty pretty quick. Over here is our retaining wall. We got to dig that out adjacent to a graveyard, which is like, okay, that's, that graveyard's up there. That's a little different. I have not done a project like that before, but it'll be awesome. And the final thing I'll cover in this staging setup is that we pulled all of our measurements for our footings from this one corner. So we knew that this corner was 16 inches off one edge. So we were 16 off that edge and 16 off that edge. And that put us at the center of that particular bracket. And then from there, we did all of our other measurements and all of our other diagonals to um, lay out the footings. It's really important that you check the diagonals and make sure that they are equalized to make sure that you're squared up. That's kind of a wrap for the staging. Tomorrow morning, we've got community members coming out, friends coming out. We'll probably have 10 or 15 people out there. The whole intent here was to introduce timber framing to our community. And so we left some parts that where we cut the frame in a class, but we left some parts where we're going to do some chain mortising, some cut-ins, some knee bracing, just so that community members can see that. We've got some folks that have signed up that are interested in working and helping, and we got some tasks for them to do. And we're going to have this frame raised over the next 3 days. I would stay with us if you've never raised a frame, because this process is quite interesting. It's kind of simple, but you have to kind of see it to gain the confidence to take it on yourself.